So Callaway have just brought out their brand new Apex irons, and similar to the previous model, there is two in that player's distance / game improvement category. Obviously in the 2021 models, we had the Apex and the Apex DCB, and now we've got the Ai200 and the Ai300. So my question is the Ai300 actually a necessary head? Like, how different is it to the Ai200 if it's marketed as being that game improvement iron? Then really how much more forgiving is it when we compare it to the Ai200? As always, I'm going to be taking a deep dive on GC Quad today, really comparing in detail the mishits, the good ones, overall data set, and trying to answer that question, is the Ai300 just a pointless iron? So you'd imagine that the biggest difference between these two irons really should be the forgiveness, because if we kind of dive into the specs difference between them, and even looking on Callaway's website, if we start from a loft perspective, the Ai200 7 iron is 30 degrees compared to 29 in the Ai300. So the lofts really aren't that different. And if we even run down the comparison on Callaway's website in terms of the differences, they all have the same sort of attributes really. They've got the cup face, the AI smart face, you've got the urethane microspheres, and you've got the MIM weighting technology as well. So the only real difference I can pinpoint from a documentation perspective from Callaway is that one's kind of called forged hollow body, the Ai200, and the Ai300 is a forged cavity bag. But really they're both hollow body. So, I mean, construction, loft, design, kind of specs, tech specs, it all seems similar. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a good shot sort of performance comparison. So we're going to hit Ai200, Ai300 just to see how they compare on good ones. And then I'm going to take a deep dive and hit some really bad ones to see, is there any difference in forgiveness? That was pretty good. Very nice. Yeah, it was slightly heely, to be fair. I did feel a fraction heely. So what I'll do, I'll show you that kind of screenshot after every shot that I hit, just so you can have a little look, quick look, launch, spin, strike, kind of all the variables that we see. And then I'm going to, at the end, we'll compare them and I'll really kind of dive into the detail and explain a little bit more about the numbers. Again, I'll be trying to limit my swing speed down to sort of mid to high 70s in that region. So that means a good shot should carry somewhere around that 150 mark. And again, I'll be touching on the looks of these clubs. We know they're not too different from the back right, but profile-wise, that'll be one of the biggest kind of differences down by the ball. That felt really good. That felt really good. Oh, very nice. Yeah, slightly toe, but again, felt really nice. 138 efficiency. I mean, that is a lot of efficiency coming out of a 7 iron. Again, that was really good. Yeah. Be very happy with that shot on course. Again, yeah, slightly toey, but very good strike. I mean, that one was toey. Not bad toey, but definitely toey. Yeah, 12 mil toe. Definitely favouring that toe side, aren't I? But even then, still 145 carry. But we will get some real mishits later. Yeah, nice. Definitely a very consistent carry, isn't it? It's right around that 150 mark. Yeah, my strike pattern couldn't really get much more consistent, could it? Okay, moving into the Ai300. So I just hit, was that just over 15 shots. So 17 shots in total I hit there with the 200. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the best 10 shots in with each. So I'll hit a similar amount of shots with the 300, then I'll dial it down to the best 10. That'll give a very fair, good data set to compare, to see how these compare on good hits. So straight off the bat, looking down at it, like the one thing that's super noticeable is a lot more offset. It looks straight away to my eye, it just looks a lot more offset, which I don't like. There might be some people out there that do like that, but I'm not a big fan. Similar shape, bit of a bigger top line, not massively bigger, but a bit bigger. But yeah, really, it's just that offset. So I've just plugged it straight into exactly the same shaft, which is a dynamic gold mid 100 S300, again, just to keep the variables as close as possible. That wasn't bad, to be fair. I think it was maybe a fraction thin. Definitely flew though. No, I mean, that was pretty perfect. 6, 7 mil low again. That's exactly where we want to hit it. It's just low, like the backspin's low, the launch is low, everything's low. Again, we'll touch on that later at this swing speed. But yeah, it was a great shot. Now that did feel a tiny bit thin. Not much, like it was still fairly decent, but a fraction thin. Yeah, literally a couple of mil lower. I wouldn't really say that's thin, but it's slightly lower in the head. But still, good shot. That was toey. We'll just leave that one in this set because, yeah, it still carried 150. Still did very well. Still was very efficient. Again, I turned it over a fraction. So when the face is close to the path, that's a very strong kind of delivery. But yeah, out in the toe, still 139 efficiency, still 150 carry. It definitely feels different. I was just trying to kind of articulate how it feels, but it sounds a bit crackier, I would say. It doesn't sound like the Ai200 almost sounds like quite a nice forged club. If you hit it, it sounds just that dull kind of muted sort of thud, which is nice. This sounds a little bit crackier and it sounds weird, but it almost feels a bit higher pitched because of that. It doesn't quite feel as solid. That was really nice. It was really nice. Oh, absolutely take that. Yeah, good strike. Similar to the 200, getting loads of efficiency out of it, like up into the 1.4 is just a bit too much for a 7-iron really, but you know, we'll touch on that later. Again, yeah, good carry. Yeah, lovely. Probably striking this one a little bit more centered, to be fair, aren't I, than the Ai200. Everything was coming a little bit out of the toe. Right, quick data comparison rundown of the good shots. So this is the best 10 shots I hit with each. So we'll look at the club delivery data quickly, just to show you how fair this is. All I'm trying to do here is really be a robot as much as I can. Fair delivery with each club to make it a fair comparison. We can see the swing speed was within 0.3 of a mile an hour, so really good. Dynamic loft was only 0.2 different, which is a bit surprising. I know these heads are only 1 degree different, but we probably should see slightly less dynamic loft with the 300, but we didn't. Angle of attack, literally identical. Path, like 0.3 degree in it. The face was fractionally more open with the Ai200, which might give a slight disadvantage, if anything, to the 200, but it won't be a lot. And even dynamic lie, we can see, was only 0.2 in it. So from a club delivery perspective, so fair. If anything, the strike was slightly more toe with the 200, which I did pick up on during the test. But again, I don't feel that's really impacted it from an efficiency or performance perspective, because again, even on the slight miss hits, it's basically like hitting these things out the middle now. Ball data comparison, the peak height was only 2 feet in it, to be fair. So the Ai200 was 73 feet in the air. The Ai300 was 71 feet in the air. So the Ai200 had a slightly steeper descent at 42.3, and the Ai300 was 41.3. So again, the 300 obviously flying a bit lower and landing kind of a bit hotter. It's going to come in and roll out more, as we would expect with a stronger lofted iron. So from a launch and spin perspective, we can obviously see a little bit lower launch and a little bit lower spin with the Ai300. A little bit more ball speed. Again, we would expect all of these things from having a little bit less loft, a little bit more ball speed, a little bit lower launch, a little bit lower spin. Now, I think that's really a good point on both of these irons, especially for this kind of swing speed. If I was seeing all of this data, I would be going to a high lofted iron for sure, into a 32, 33 degree 7-iron, more traditionally lofted set. That will get better ball flight throughout the set, better gapping throughout the set, better stopping power throughout the set. Everything would be better. So just bear that in mind. I wouldn't be going, if you're someone who swings reasonably slow or struggles to get the ball up in the air, definitely avoid the Ai300, probably avoid the Ai200 and kind of irons in that category as well. So yeah, as we said, a little bit more ball speed from the Ai300, a little bit lower launch, a little bit lower spin. Standard deviations are pretty tight across the board between them, to be honest. Not really much to pick up on there. And we saw 3 yards additional carry from the Ai300, just from that little bit more ball speed, a little bit lower spin. We get a little bit more distance. But again, the stopping power wouldn't be as good because it would be landing that little bit hotter. Directionally, the Ai300 maybe fraction more left, that bit more offset. But to be honest, I didn't really feel like it wanted to turn over on me any more than the 200. I felt hitting them was fairly similar apart from the kind of feel and sound. Right, we've seen some good ones. We've seen the average data for both. Now we need to test these miss hits. So, I mean, are we going to see more difference in this area than on the good shots? So we're going to go back to the Ai200. So the best I had out of this, the best carry I had out of this was 153. So when we really hit some bad shots, how much drop off we're going to get? I mean, that was horrific. I mean, that's actually a pretty good result. So when you see that strike, it was literally not on the face. But it still carried 132. So it's about a 20-yard drop off. It's quite funny. I might see if the camera will focus on that. There we go. Look at that ball print in all its glory. Again, we'll leave it in there because, again, I literally, it was worse than, yeah, it was worse. I don't know how I did that, but it was worse than the last one. I'm literally nearly missing the face. So 122 carry. So we've got a 30-yard drop off. I mean, these are pretty extreme examples in all fairness, but you know, we want to see what it does across the whole face. See if we can get one on the face. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's still decent. It was probably on the face just about, but it's still very, very, very toey. Yeah, I mean, well, slightly more on the face. I mean, that's still 24mm toe. That's still pretty damn horrific. But I mean, even on those, I mean, it tends to be 130. That was 135 carry, which is, you know, around a 20-ish yard drop off, which is still not bad. I mean, if you really, really, really miss the face, I mean, you might get a 30-yard drop off. But yeah, that was still horrific. Back into the Ai300. Now, the best carry I had with this was 156 compared to the 153 with the 200. So again, we saw 3 yards on average, and we saw 3 yards best to best. So let's get some really bad toe strikes with this, so how it compares. Again, it was probably similar to the last one with the AI, just more left. Just pulled it a little bit more, but it was actually a very, very similar strike and a very similar swing speed. Maybe actually a slightly better strike, 134 carry. Oh, that was one of the ones that misses the face. Again, it's done reasonably well. Yep, literally off the face. 125 carry. Again, it's a 30-yard drop off. That was, again, like just on the face, I would say. Again, around 130 carry. I mean, doing this, obviously, I'm not a robot, I'm not a machine. I mean, although, to be fair, that's a very similar strike pattern that we had with the 200. Like, everything's way in that low toe. Looking at the efficiency, looking at the carry, again, 129 carry on that one. Maybe fractionally better than the 200, but I mean, it's almost impossible to say. That was like a good toe, I would say, that one. Yep. Similar to one that I think I hit with the 200 model. Yeah, again, it was toe, but it was on the face toe, which is good. And 136 carry, whereas I think that one, similar with the 200, 135 carry. Again, it's, again, even a very quick comparison. I mean, I know this isn't super, super scientific, but it's about as good as I can make it. And again, between the two heads, we're seeing 2 yards of carry difference on average. Back into the 200, just going to test some heel strikes. So we thoroughly tested the whole face. Oh, that was, yeah, low heel. That's done amazing. That's basically just as good as a normal one. I think I did swing that a couple of mile an hour faster, in all fairness. Still like 78, so still only high 70s. Okay, it wasn't that heely, 9mm heel, but it still felt pretty heel to me, so I'll show you that one as a good example. Still 135 efficiency, still 150 carry, and yeah, it was heely. There we go. Smidge too heely. Oh, that was horrible. I mean, that was really horrible. Again, I mean, it's a pretty good result considering where that was struck. I mean, that felt very bad. It was like high, yeah, I mean, just, that's an awful strike, really. Awful, 127 carry. It's actually pretty solid. That was interesting. I mean, that's insane. How has it done that? Go on. What a result. I mean, that, yeah, again, I mean, it wasn't the worst heel in the world, but it was 100% heely. So I don't even know how that did that, but that is remarkable. Oh, again. That is really, really impressive, this thing out the heel, I tell you. Like, that is such a good result. Didn't feel anywhere near the middle. And normally in the heel, it feels so weak and horrible. Like, yeah, 12mm heel. Like, that didn't feel good. But still 133 efficiency and 140 carry. I reckon it's more impressive out the heel than it is out the toe. Back into the 300 for some heel strikes. Oh, yeah, that was necky. Again, I mean, 135 carry, that's pretty solid. I mean, again, 75 swing speed, low heel strike, 129 efficiency, 135 carry. I mean, yeah, that's really good. Again, that's really quite remarkable. What a result that is. Again, I think we had one very similar to that with the 200. Again, as I keep saying, it's so hard to really quantify. But yeah, again, it's low heel, 11mm heel, still good efficiency, 146 carry, and a really good result. Again, similar to the 200, I think this is actually probably slightly better at the heel. Oh, that was really heely, like really badly heely. And again, I mean, that's about as worse as you can hit it without shanking it, to be completely honest. Yeah, I mean, that was very close. So we do get, you know, get a 30-yard drop off. We've seen similar, right? We've seen 30-yard drop off out the toe with both, with a terrible one. 30-yard drop off out the heel from both with a terrible one. Good, decent ones with both. I mean, it's so hard, isn't it? Funny, isn't it? Again, you do a very similar thing. You compare them. Again, there's 2 yards difference in carry. I mean, you could really start diving into kind of standard deviations. Spin was tighter on the 200, carry was tighter on the 300, but really with these bad shots, it's going to come far more down to me than it is the club. But again, I mean, it's so hard to define, like, if there's any difference at all between these heads in terms of the forgiveness across the face. So you've seen the good performance and you've seen the bad performance. In my honest opinion, is there any difference in forgiveness between these two heads across the face? No, I don't think there is. I really don't. I mean, it's pretty much impossible for a human to tell. I think you need a robot, and even then you'd probably be hard done by. So the reality is, for the majority of people, why would I fit them into the 300 over the 200? I don't think I ever would, to be honest. I think for the vast majority of people, having a little bit more launch and a little bit more spin in the irons is going to be a good thing, unless it's a very specific player type. So the fact that 200 looks better down by the ball, it sounds better, it feels better, it's just as forgiving. You might lose a couple of yards, but there's not going to be anything in it really noticeable on course, but it might give you a better ball flight. I think it's just a win-win-win-win-win for the 200 in my book. So yeah, the summary is the 300 really a necessary iron? Probably not.